Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the PSBlue Podcast. This is episode 23. As always, I'm joined again by my wonderful co-host, Adonis. How are we doing today?
I'm doing great. It's a wonderful Sunday, and I'm ready to talk about video games.
That's great. I'm also ready to talk about video games. That's actually all we have today, really. I mean, normally we have some news topics, some different discussions about, trends in the video game world, more specifically catered toward PlayStation. If you're living under a rock, this is a PlayStation podcast. But today we just have games, straight games. It's going to be a very short episode, I would say, this week. There's not a lot of topics to go over, but it's all games. And who doesn't love that? We got some takes on Assassin's Creed Mirage. We have Lords of the Fallen, Spider-Man 2, and my most anticipated topic, Empire of the Ants. But first, the quote of the week. I finally did it. I finally beat Adonis and got a quote of the week. He grabbed this one, so I'm going to let him tell you what the quote of the week is this particular episode. Adonis, what did I say?
Okay, well, last week when talking about Lords of the Fallen, you said, and I quote, "I'm very skeptical. If this game is as good as it looks, I'm going to be a pig rolling around in the mud. I've gotten burned so many times on these Soul-like games. We'll see." End quote. And I think that's the perfect kind of way to put the game. When you look at gameplay incoming or going into the release, is you kind of have to be reserved and realize like, hey, it's a Souls-like game, but it probably isn't going to be as good as I think it's going to be. But if it is good, I'm over the hill joyed.
So, yeah, I think the reason why you probably pulled that quote sounds like you sort of agree with me. There is a lot at stake when you call your game a quote-unquote Souls-like. It just puts your game at another expectation level. And I've been burnt so many times at these Souls games. I really have. Lies of P ended up being a absolute home run. So I get skeptical, and you'll see this is actually a good segue into our next topic, Lords of the Fallen. But yeah, so let's just dive right into this topic then. So Lords of the Fallen came out, and the reception has been all over the place, to say the least. It's really kind of an interesting dichotomy where you see a lot of 9s and 8s and a lot of 3s and 4s. I think some of that is based on the performance issues. I think it's also a mix of, what does this do differently in the Souls genre? One thing I think everybody agreed on, though, is the graphics are phenomenal. Again, take these reviews with a grain of salt. I just like to use a review score as a barometer for, is the game doing what it says it's going to do? Are there a bunch of game-breaking bugs, et cetera, et cetera?
Well, no. I mean, if it's a 5 out of 10, they automatically can't get nothing I got.
I'll say this, and we'll save this for another day. But there were games that I played before the reviews came out, especially when I was younger, and they ended up getting 6 out of 10s, let's just say. And I put the game down because I convinced myself that the game wasn't good, even though I was having fun with it before the review came out. That's all I'm saying. Take these reviews with a grain of salt. I like to use it, again, as a way to gauge where the game is at. Is it doing what they said it would do?
Yeah, but the one thing about it, and you're right, I'm not saying you're wrong, but the one thing about it is when you're looking at games like this that don't come from large studios, large development studios, these outlets control the masses. Their reviews do just that. Like, if it's a game you've never played before, where do you think we're going to go to try to get a review on the game to see if we want it? IGN, Metacritic,
Your 8 out of 10, your 9 out of 10 might be somebody else's 6 out of 10. That's all I'm saying.
I agree.
So where does that leave me with Lords of the Fallen? I think $70, $60, I just can't justify it, especially when there's kind of a disparity in the reviews. I will wait for it to drop to maybe $40 and then maybe I'll check it out. And then we can discuss more this game. Or if they want to send us a review code, they can do that too. But I mean, where do you stand on this, Adonis?
I think you're right. Not to mention with you picking up Lies of P, you already kind of have a Souls-like game that you're playing. So I wouldn't say it would be counterproductive, but for the reviews that it's getting, how it's so mixed, there's no way like you said, I'm going to put money into a game that kind of isn't really getting received well by the masses at a high level. Ups, downs, that's not Lies of P. I'll keep playing. When it goes on sale, I'll pick it up.
Moving along, our next topic is Spider-Man 2. Now, this game, when you hear this episode of the podcast, the game probably has come out, but suspend your disbelief. Neither of us have played it because we're recording this before Spider-Man 2 is actually released. So we're going to do some predictions and, just general feelings on the game. I myself have been on blackout for this game since it was announced. I did not want to see anything about Spider-Man 2. I wanted it to be a surprise going in. The main things that I know is that there's 2 Spider-Mans and Venom is involved. But other than that, I mean, I'm going in kind of blind and I'm happy for that. But what do you have to say about this, Adonis? Are you excited for Spider-Man 2?
That game's going to be amazing. What are you talking about? That game's going to be absolutely beautiful. Because Insomniac, they're beautiful people. They make beautiful games and they take their time with games. Obviously, crunch is something that you can put into the conversation, but I will save all of that for next week. They needed to make sure that the game was polished and ready, and greenlit, which they did actually let the public know. Don't know why, but they said that the last version of the game had been rendered and was ready for public consumption, which is great. The storyline is great. It's Spider-Man. It's a familiar title. Which I think the best part of the kind of tour, I think that's the best way I can put it, is when you have a game that's coming out, there's a tour you take, right? For certain gaming conventions, you drop little gameplay trailer here, you drop a little nugget here, and they've done it right the whole way. Skins, the Venom skin, what the game offers, the storyline, Kraven the Hunter, every aspect of this game is right. It's on point. It's ready. It'll be received well by the masses. Everybody's going to play it. It's going to break numbers. Will it be better than Spider-Man Miles Morales? Yes. You want to know why? Because of the reptilian guy, which I don't want to be disrespectful, so I'm not going to even take a shot at it. But the reptilian guy that you end up fighting, him, Kraven the Hunter, yes, Miles Morales and Spider-Man, their face off, man, it's just, I know I said a lot of things. It will be better than the first, and it will be a great gaming day for all lovers of Spider-Man.
PlayStation.
Hello, everyone. Quick interjection. This is Editing Anthony, and unfortunately, I hate to do this right now, but apparently my mic went out in the middle of recording, so you're going to hear a very, very, very big dip in quality in my mic specifically. Adonis is fine, but my mic went out, and I think the backup mic was my little webcam microphone, so it's bad, okay? There's no way of sugarcoating it. It is not great, but just hang in there. There's a good episode. We have a few more topics that I think come out really nicely, and just hang in there till the end, and I promise you this won't happen again next week. Thanks for bearing with me, guys.
Spider-Man's my favorite superhero, I would say. It's a toss-up between Spider-Man and Superman. For me, I know one's DC, one's Marvel.
I was gonna say, please make that distinction. Otherwise, you're gonna be in trouble.
I don't mess around with stuff like that. But
wow, I don't mess around. I don't mess around, guys.
I'm also not the biggest superhero fan. This is another tangent for another day. Just there's too many movies that it's too saturated. There's too much stuff going on. But back in the day when we were, teenagers, all you had was the Spider-Man Tobey Maguire movies. That's all you had were those movies. Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 are two of the best superhero movies to come out in the last several decades, in my opinion, especially Spider-Man 2. So growing up with that, I always had a fondness for Spider-Man and just his sort of his metamorphosis from this, little kind of nerdy guy to someone who's trying to, against all odds, save an entire city in a very wholesome kind of way. Whereas you have, Batman and Gotham, and that's a darker, grungier sort of tone. I love the tone of Spider-Man. I love that sort of jovial, youthful tone that the game has, and just the character at large has. So for me, what sold me on Spider-Man, the first Insomniac Spider-Man, was that feeling when you swing from building to building for the first time. Like, they absolutely nailed it.
Knocked it out of the park.
My jaw was on the floor. All I did for the first 2 hours of the game that I played for 2 hours was just swing around New York City. It was breathtaking to me, and I'd never experienced anything like it. And then you kind of get over that initial shock, and then you realize that underneath it all, underneath this amazing presentation, there's a really solid story. There's some of the tropes that we've come to expect in the Spider-Man storyline, but there's also some new themes and new sort of twists on the same old story that I really appreciated from Insomniac. Like, they clearly have a fondness for the character like I do, and it comes right through. And you're right, the villains are great. Miles Morales, I think that story was even better. If I'm being honest with myself, it's a smaller, more bite-sized campaign in terms of gameplay length, but I think that story was better overall. I think it was tighter, and it was just better. You're combining those two stories, because you're going to be able to play as both Spider-Mans. What's the plural of Spider-Man?
I mean, I think Spider-Man is okay.
Spider-Man.
I think that's fine. So we'll just roll with Spider-Man.
All right, we'll roll with Spider-Man. So you get to play as both of them, and that's really cool. Like, there's a little, I think, like I said, I've been on sort of blackout for the game. I wanted to see as little as possible. I want to go in fresh, but I think I gleaned that you can switch from Peter Parker to Miles Morales seamlessly, and when you switch from one to the other one's going to be doing something. They could be in the middle, kind of like in Grand Theft Auto 5, when you go from one of the three main characters in that game. But obviously, it's going to be more seamless, and the next gen version of that. The idea of that is just so cool to me. What else do I have to say about Spider-Man 2? So for me, predictions, the game's not going to be less than an 8.5. If
there's no way.
Yeah,
there's
if we're talking about like a
there's
number
literally no way.
Yeah.
Nines straight across the board.
I think so
where
too.
we start.
I think so too. Now my biggest question here is this going to be Game of the Year? It's definitely going to be a Game of the Year contender, but as a sequel, how much can it innovate from its original, the first original two entries?
I think a lot. And I think a lot, which I think is really, really cool, is that I think the creators of this kept a lot under wraps. Like, I think they're still yet to be seen. The only way we'll be able to see some of the new innovative ways they brought us the game is by playing it. And that's the part that I'm excited about. I feel like they have some things up their sleeve that the consumers of the game, the community like us, won't know until we get our hands on it launch day.
Can you give it a Game of the Year nod, though, if it just does everything?
So if you want to give it a Game of the Year nod, what's the list? Who else is on this list? What other titles are on the list that are in consideration?
God, are you serious? This has been such an amazing year for video games. There's so many games on the list. So many games. I don't even know where to start with that question. I don't know. I think it's definitely a possibility, though. I think it's definitely going to be in the Game of Year conversation. I think for me, I'd have to go back and look at the list of games, but I know it's been a stellar year for games, and it's been a long day, so I'm drawing some blanks right now, but quick Google search and I'll get back to you on that. Do you have anything else to say about this one, though, Spider-Man 2? Any thoughts before the game comes out and we get our hands on it? Anything you want to say?
No, I think I've said everything I want to say. I'm just ready, as well as everyone else is, to kind of just literally break into this game and just sink our teeth into the content and enjoy the campaign and immerse ourselves in this new iteration of the Spider-Man series.
Yeah, very, very well said, and I agree with it all. Here's some of the games that have come out this year. Dead Space remake, Resident Evil 4 remake, Diablo 4, Horizon,
Nah.
Call of the Mountain, Sea of Stars is up there for me for Game of the Year. Uh, I would say that's probably my short list. I might throw Lies of P on there too, and then the obvious one, Baldur's Gate 3. I think Baldur's Gate 3 is going to get Game of the Year pretty much on every website.
I've heard that from a few people.
Yeah.
I've heard that from a few people that the game was so breathtaking that it was like a unanimous Game of the Year. Not that 4 people are going to reflect what the masses have to say, but I think a majority kind of feel the same way.
No, it's incredible, and I'm only about 15 hours in. It's incredible. Here's another one that is on my Game of the Year list as well. Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Nah. Even though
Yes.
I think it was better than the first and I loved the storyline, there's just games that like are in consideration, but they just don't hold. Like you can't put that game next to Baldur's Gate 3 and it hold any weight. It's cool. Like you can put it on the list. It's all right to say it, but they're like clear cut upper echelon games for the Game of the Year. That's not one of them. Like Baldur's
Hogwarts
Gate 3.
Legacy.
I think that game just kind of got over. Like, it was good while it was out. It was the talk of the town, and then everything died down.
It just, the thing is it feels like so long ago. It came out in February.
That's the big point. It feels like
Yeah.
it's so long ago.
Yeah. Same with Dead Space. Dead Space I think came out in January, but I mean, just it really has been a stellar year for games, and this is the last big release that we're gonna get as PlayStation players. Uh, and yeah, I think, I mean, I'm kind of, it's been a long day, so I'm trying my best to get through this episode, but I'm trying to think of other games that are coming out, and I don't think there's anything like Spider-Man 2 that's coming out. This is the last one. Yeah, this is, as far as I can tell, the last big release before the end of the year. Let's move on to take a break from the games for a second. We're going to go to the console discussion here, because if you haven't seen it already, which I'm sure you have, there is a new design for the PS5 that was revealed not too long ago. And it is basically exactly the same as the regular, first version of the PS5, just smaller. And there's a digital version and a disc-based version. Before we started recording, Adonis, you had some stuff to say about this, so I'm just going to toss it to you, and you can take the reins on this one. So what do you think about the new, same immersive power, new slimmer size PlayStation 5 redesign?
I'll make sure my comments are PG-13 and not what they were before we started. First of all, Sony, stop it. Just stop. We have the PS5. Not only that, you made it damn near impossible. And I'm not saying that you did it on purpose, and I'm talking directly to Sony. I'm addressing Sony as a person, not an entity, a person. You made it so hard for people to get their hands on PS5. People out here fighting.
Yeah.
Kids waking up with no PS5 underneath their Christmas tree. I understand all of this. Now that we finally got our hands on it, now you can walk into a store and get one. We don't need this. We don't need it. Oh, man, you can get a digital version of a game with a disc drive upgrade. That'll cost you $80. If I buy a digital version of the game, why would I need a disc drive? If I made the choice to go, hey, I want a digital version of the game, I don't need a disc drive. I'm not paying you $80 for a disc drive. I'm not going to do it. This console that I have sitting right next to me has enough power. Just like this new PS5 Slim, there is no way that they're going to get me to go, man, I just really need this. It's not going to happen. I don't want it. unless it's cost effective by like, I don't know, $100, I don't think anybody really is going to want it. Like when the PS4 came out, it sounded real bad in your living room if you had one, because it sounded like a fan was going. It was working so hard. It was processing so much data and information.
It was loud.
So when the PS4 Slim came out, it kind of took away from some of that workload. So you were able to get a conversation out without it sounding like you being in an airport. So those were improvements that made it worthwhile, that made it cost effective. They're not showing me no improvements. It just looks sleeker. I'm not spending $500 for something that looks sleeker. It's not going to happen. I think it's a great idea. I like the way it looks. If you don't have one, if you're still in the avenue or on the avenue of trying to get one, sure, you can start with this. But I don't really see anybody absolutely needing to go from the PS5 to the PS5 Slim.
Yeah,
I think there's a need for it.
I don't think it's intended for people that don't already have a PS5. I think it's more of like when they made the PS3 and then they made a new version of the PS3 that didn't look like a convection oven. You know, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's just a model upgrade, quote unquote. I don't know if they're really trying to, I mean, maybe they're doing that a little, trying to sell us on, hey, come and check out this new slimmer PS5 for someone like you or someone like me who already own a PS5. And I don't think the price is going to come down at all. I think that this is more of a, you know, we're in October, we're gearing up for the holiday push, which is the biggest quarter for the entertainment industry at large. And I think they're just gearing up for that. And I think that they're going to push a lot of these PS5s for the holiday season. But yeah, I think it is, the distinction does have to be made. I will say, this is the same exact PS5. You do not need to get this if you already have one.
Yeah, there's no reason to go out and buy this. Like you said, and you put it perfectly, this is the big push. You know, this is where all the big dollars are made. This is where all the marketing goes into. This is where everybody meets in that Oval Office, that circular office room with the sliding chairs. This is what they're coming up with. These are the ideas, the selling points, the price points, all of this. This is the big push. So they want to make sure that their products are reaching the masses and that everyone loves new. So the fact that the PS5 Slim is new, people are going to want to get it. And there are going to be some people who have a PS5 who have that expendable income and go, F it. Man, I ball out, baby. Let me go get that. But that ain't me. I got everything I need.
You just need the new one because it's new.
Listen,
there are
people that have money. People that have money that aren't responsible are dangerous human beings.
Yeah.
Man, let me go get that. What is it called? The little handheld PS5 thing. I need all of it. Let me get 2 of those.
Oh, PlayStation
Why?
Portal. That's your favorite
Yeah,
thing,
man.
right?
Oh God.
You're gonna buy one tomorrow, right?
Nah, I'm not buying one ever. But I'm pretty sure I'll meet somebody in the near future that'll have one, and I'll go, "Ooh, you wasted $200. How do you feel?" But no, I don't think there's a need for it. I think with the holiday push coming, like you said, they'll sell plenty, but it's just not my cup of tea since I already have a PS5.
Yeah, I think this is just gonna replace. I doubt you'll even see the regular PS5 on shelves. You know, they'll just sell the stock that they have, and then when the department stores get new PS5s, it'll just be this version. On blog.playstation.com, it says the article headline right here is, quote, "New look for PS5 console this holiday season," end quote. So I think that, yeah, that kind of corroborates it for those of you listening. I think that this is going to be the brand new holiday, quote unquote, PS5. It's significantly smaller. I will say that. And I don't think we need to touch this topic, you know, more than that. It's a lot smaller. Like, that PS5 is a brick. It's a big piece of hardware. If I had to eyeball it, I'd say it's probably 30% smaller, which is a lot. But let's move on. Let's get through this. Mirage is a hot mess. Assassin's
I don't
Creed
believe
Mirage.
that. I don't believe that. You want to
It's-
know why I don't believe that? I have one reason why I don't believe that. I watched. I know this is riveting information. I watched somebody pick up the game and like was playing it on Instagram, and it looked absolutely amazing.
No.
Like they were throwing a knife across the screen, and then he'd pop up behind them and
It's
slit their
hot
throat.
garbage.
Really?
Yeah. And I will say this. I have not played the game firsthand. But I will also tell you Forspoken is hot garbage. And I've never played Forspoken. I did play the demo of Forspoken. This is Assassin's Creed Mirage is it's a waste of money as far as I'm concerned.
Wow, that's a big statement, buddy.
I don't get it. I don't get it. It's glitchy. It's basic. We're gonna lose so many listeners. I'm sorry. Adonis likes this game better than I do, so please just listen, just for his sake, if you're a big Assassin's Creed fan. But if you're a big Assassin's Creed fan, you should be mad at this. This game should not be $50. This is an expansion. This is and you know that's how this game started, right?
Really?
It was a Valhalla, which I love, by the way. I thought Valhalla was an amazing game. It was awesome. You know, it gets repetitive toward the end, but it's everything that it tried to do, it did really well, I thought. It was an expansion for Valhalla, and it turned into a full-fledged game instead. The campaign's not very long, though. It's only about 12 to 15 hours. They could have bundled this with Valhalla. They could have made it a $15 standalone game, but the fact that they're charging $50 for this is an absolute crime. It's robbery.
Oh my Lord.
People are going to pay $50 for it. I know people have. I know people that have. I don't understand this one bit. It's such a bizarre price point, $49.99 for me to see the game come out in this state. Nothing I've seen has looked very polished or, innovative. It looks like they took Assassin's Creed, the original Assassin's Creed, which I've played a ton of Assassin's Creed games. So, I haven't played this, but I've played a lot. I've played enough. Okay. This looks like Assassin's Creed 1 HD. That's what it looks like to me.
Oh, wow.
The combat looks like a huge step back, first of all. And I know some people are calling for more stealth and less action, and it's hard to call Assassin's Creed Odyssey an assassin game because, let's face it, you don't really do much assassinating in Odyssey. It's mainly, riding around on a ship and exploring an island and going to another island and getting into these really intense fights for land in, ancient Rome. But it's awesome. And the combat was great. And this just doesn't seem challenging to me. It seems very one note as far as gameplay and combat is concerned. And the parkour looks super basic. Now, one day this game will be on Ubisoft Plus, and I will play it, and maybe I'll eat my words. But I haven't watched 5 minutes of gameplay of this. I've seen a lot of gameplay because I wanted to make sure that I knew what I was saying before I said all this. I don't think... And here's the other problem. This is going to be a massive success because it's $49.99. So everybody's going to run out and buy this game because it's a brand new game for $49.99. But then they're, going to be 15 hours in. They're going to realize they've done everything they can do. And that's going to be that. I feel myself starting to lose focus, and I feel myself starting to go down a tangent. So I'm going to cut myself off right there, as a good host would. Actually, a good host would have cut me off 5 minutes ago. And I'm going to pass it over to you, Adonis, because I feel like you're going to come to the defense of Assassin's Creed Mirage right now. So you come to its defense, because I know that's what you're about to do. Go ahead.
Yeah, like I was saying when I heard you say it, I'm just like, wait a minute, like you got to be talking about another game, only because maybe like a few days ago, one of the streamers or somebody on social media got early access to the game, and I was watching some of the sequences of the stealth, the kills, and it looked amazing to me. Like, I was like, damn, like this game seems to bring back, because like you said, Odyssey didn't really do a good job at assassinating anything. Valhalla was great, but that the stealth, the assassinations, that part of the game that everybody loved and wanted so badly, I feel like it's returning in this game. I feel like the game's going in the right direction. Gameplay wise, like I said, the clip was maybe 5 to 8 minutes. Maybe I need to see more, but from what I saw,
I think you do.
From what I saw, I thought it looked great.
I mean, what are we talking about? Look great graphically speaking.
Graphically, it looked great.
The graphics are fine.
The stealth looked great. As far as the story mode, how it unfolds, the characters, what their part is in the game, I didn't really get into that. But I don't really think you can fall flat on your face from that perspective when it comes to an Assassin's Creed game, can you?
I don't get it. I don't get, what are they trying to accomplish here? It's like not a mainline entry, but it's not a mainline entry. You know what I mean? I'm just so perplexed by that $49.99 price tag, and the fact that it started off as an expansion, that they decided that it just seems like a selfish, I don't want to use cash grab again, but that's the only word I can think of. I apologize. It seems like a cash grab. I'm so sick of saying that word, but I mean, what else am I supposed to say? It's a cash grab. This is an expansion that turned into a full thing, and now it is what it is. The map is so much smaller, which can be a good thing, if it's crafted correctly, but it's so much smaller than AC Odyssey, AC Origins, AC. I think it's smaller than Black Flag too. It's a very small map.
It might be small, yeah. I think it is smaller than Black Flag.
Yeah, so it has to be great. It has to be very curated, every area that you go to. And I just see a gorgeous looking empty sandbox. That's all I see. It's gorgeous because it's on the Valhalla engine, and that game is beautiful looking. But, it's not a big next gen upgrade from that. It's the same engine as far as I can tell. I don't know. What do you have to, what else do you have to say about this? I mean, I don't know. I said everything I wanted to say. Are you going to get this game?
No.
Did I have anything to do with that? Because I don't want to, detract from. If you enjoy it, to each their own is what I say. I don't want to convince you not to play a game that you're excited to play. So.
Well, I'm excited for the game. I don't think a 5-minute sequence is going to make me buy a $50 game. I'm going to have to, especially after what you said, I'm going to have to watch like a walkthrough, maybe like a 30 to 40 minute walkthrough to see if it's a game I want to partake in. The stealth and that really cool kill sequence for about 5 to 8 minutes looked cool, but I can't buy a game off the strength of a 5-minute clip looking good because it's $50.
I was excited for this game. I think that I need to, make sure that goes, that I say this. I was excited for this game. I was not skeptical about this game at all. I thought it was a really cool, interesting idea, especially from like the story perspective. I think it's a very unique sort of spin from a story perspective. I just don't see the execution, and I've watched enough gameplay to say that. I feel like the combat, every time I look at the combat, I can't get over it. It is such a step backwards from all the way back to Origins, that was 4 games ago at this point. It's just, Origins and on, I loved the combat in those games. All they had to do was keep that combat and add stealth to it, more stealth to it, and make it harder to. I don't know. I want to stop talking about this because it's gonna make me upset because I was excited for this game. Do you have anything else to say, or can we move on?
I'm looking forward to getting my hands on more gameplay to kind of properly assess the game. You seem pretty strong in your affirmations about it, so I want to try to, I guess, figure it out. Hope that there are more reasons to look forward to it, but I'm gonna definitely, after the podcast is over, look at some videos and see if this game is worth the $50.
I could be wrong too, and I'll be the first to admit it if I am. The Metacritic scores are kind of where Lords of the Fallen are in the mid 70s. Nothing great, nothing terrible, but I expect more from Ubisoft. That's all it is. Last topic of the day, Adonis. Last topic, and ooh boy, is it a good one.
I don't know why you're doing this.
I don't know
why you're doing this.
Hold on. Listen, stay with me. Empire, hold on, of the Ants. Yes, that's right. You said last week on the PSBlue podcast, I have the receipt for it. We can go back and we can quote you on it. Unreal Engine 5 is a game changer. I'm paraphrasing, but you basically said how excited you were for Unreal Engine 5. It is a big deal. We've been waiting to see the next generation of graphics. We've seen next gen, but we haven't really seen next gen. And part of that was Unreal Engine 5. And we discussed that there's not a lot of games out there with Unreal Engine 5. Lords of the Fallen has it. I talked about Layers of Fear for a little bit. But Empire of the Ants, that game uses Unreal Engine 5. And this is a game that I have been looking forward to for a decade now. No, I'm just kidding. I just literally saw gameplay of it yesterday and I added it to our podcast. It's a game where you play as an ant. And I wish you could see gameplay for those of you that are just listening, but go on PlayStation's YouTube. It's called Empire of Ants. It actually looks kind of fun. I showed it to Adonis before the podcast started. I showed it to him. He was not impressed. Talk to me about Empire of the Ants. Game of the Year contender?
You like playing with me? No, yeah. Not even close. I don't care if this game utilized technology from alien beings 3,000 years in the future. There is no way on God's green earth I'm going to wake up, leave work, or stop what I'm doing in my regular life to play an ant in a video game.
Why?
Not going to happen. If I want to be an ant, I'll watch Bug's Life. If I want to be an ant, I'll go outside and just sit on the curb and watch the ants play. There are so many other things that are worthwhile in my day that I don't need to sit here and invest hours in playing a campaign of ants. Like, no, what are we doing? People get way too out of bounds with these game ideas. Put that one to bed. Leave that one under wraps. Keep that one in the filing cabinet. You don't need to make games like this. I could watch the Discovery Channel. I don't. No.
What is this? Like,
I don't know. But no.
All of my jokes aside, what? What is this Empire of the Ant?
You get to live the life of an ant. That's it.
I will say this.
Does he have superpowers?
No.
Oh, well, then I'm good. No, I'm straight. I don't need it. Nope. No good.
all jokes aside, it does, and I'm being dead serious. It does look gorgeous. It's Unreal Engine 5 from a very microscopic perspective. It's cool. I will say that is as cool as a tech demo. I do not know if this is an actual game though. What are we doing? Why?
Ain't no way.
All right, and
I don't
we'll
care
leave
about
you
the
with
graphics
that.
looking good. I don't even care about the graphics looking good. What does it matter? Like Discovery Channel, that documentary they ran on ants looks way better. The real ants. The real ants.
Well, this game is slated for 2024. If you don't have anything else to say about Empire of the Ants, I don't either. I'm going to go watch my Giants lose to the Buffalo Bills. And that is it for this episode of the PSBlue Podcast. Short and sweet. I promise we will have lengthier episodes once we get these for your considerations going. But until then, we are just getting warmed up. Adonis, do you have anything to say to these lovely people?
As always, thanks for listening. Thanks for taking what we say under advisement if you do. And if you made it this far in the podcast, I appreciate you. Until next week, my name is Adonis, and I will see you then. I'll let Anthony take us out.
Goodbye. That's all I have to say. I'm too tired for this tonight. Have a good night, guys.